This episode of WDW Today is being sponsored by Mouse Fan Travel. And if you're planning a trip to Walt Disney World and want a little help planning it, they can help you plan your next trip to Walt Disney World. Not only that, perhaps you're planning a trip elsewhere. Disney Cruise Line, Adventures by Disney, even Universal Studios. You know, these are all places that the great travel agents at MAN Mouse Fan Travel can help you plan your trip to, because they've been there many, many times, and they have the experience and the know-how to help you plan your next trip. So when I give them a try, visit them online at www.mousefanttravel.com.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Wednesday, May 13th, 2009, and this is episode 563 of WDW Today. I am Matt Hochberg of StudioCentral.com. Joining me on today's show is Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Mike, I just heard the great news. Janine is coming to Star Wars Weekends.
Yeah, where's the bell for that? Ding.
Yes, we're all excited that our listener Janine is coming to Star Wars Weekends. It's been it makes it more fun to have our listeners down there. And certainly, if you're going to be down there, let us know. Email us at matt@wdwtoday.com and let us know if you're going to be down there for Star Wars Weekends. Also going to be down there for Star Wars Weekends, well, maybe not this year, but eventually, will be Mike Scopa, a senior feature writer and blogger for allears.net. Welcome, Mike.
Good luck, bro. The Big Apple, New York, New York. Land of 10,000 dreams and one parking spot.
Didn't you use that one last week? Yeah.
Okay, ready one? And another thing. Those locked coordinates. We're in.
Dinosaur.
Dinosaur, right.
And someone who really is coming to Star Wars Weekends this year. It's Annette Owens, the manager of customer relations and group services for MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. Welcome, Annette.
Hey, can't wait to go down and see all those crazy Star Wars things. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Annette, in your expert opinion here, who shot first, Greedo or Han Solo?
Oh, in my expert opinion,
I was just curious what your take on the whole controversy is.
I'm gonna just have to say, not sure.
Okay.
I'm coming to hang with my friends. Not so sure about the Star Wars part of it.
I thought you were hanging with us.
Oh. Very nice. All right. It's Wednesday. We're answering your listener questions. We're going to start with a question from Nick in Vincennes, Indiana, home of the Fighting Alice's. Right, say, gang, I was just wondering if it would be possible to substitute the quick service dining plan in place of the regular dining plan for the free dining promo. I don't plan on doing this, but was just wondering because the quick service plan would be a lot easier to have if I were to take my 1-year-old. I seriously doubt he would make it through a sit-down meal at most table service restaurants. Or he would end up just throwing his food at the disgusted older gentleman, giving him a dirty look, and muttering something about not bringing small children to the parks.
Oh, Uncle
Love
Paul.
the podcast. Keep up the good work.
Ouch.
To whom could
Man,
you
why do people talk about Len like that?
Just not sure. You know, and several years running, they have over time said they'd make adjustments to the dining plan during free dining so that you could have two counter services because the table services they get filled up during free dining. But right now, it's definitely just the normal basic dining plan that they're offering.
So you can't downgrade it.
Not now. No.
Okay. No problem. Next email is from Murad in Wigan, England, who writes, "Hello, loyal subjects. How are the colonies on this fine spring day? Captain John Smith told me of your publication following a chance meeting with a young Mr. Scopa. He suggested getting a question in early to enable a timely reply."
2 for 2.
Upon hearing, Newell, this is the best question show ever. Upon hearing about the free dining offer in 2009, I checked the rates for availability using the interwebs and found that our favorite Port Orleans resort is fully booked during the first 2 weeks of December. WaltDisneyWorld.co.uk had nothing, but DisneyWorld.com has availability, but no free dining in December. The king really ought to do something about that. Alternative accommodations suggested including Old Key West and Saratoga Springs. Coronado Springs and Caribbean Beach were also suggested, but only included in the quick service dining plan. I've heard of people having issues with the Disney buses at Old Key West and Saratoga Springs, but we found the buses to be just fine at Port Orleans French Quarter, All Stars, and Scopa Towers. The book echoed this to some extent, so I was wondering, is the bus service at Old Key West and Saratoga actually inferior to Port Orleans French Quarter, All Stars, and Scopa Towers? This is significant to us because having a car on holiday makes it no holiday at all to me. We were more than happy with the buses during our earlier trips. I don't mind walking far to the main building, but I don't think that it would be good to have poor bus service. Many thanks again. P.S. Love your work.
I'd say French Quarter is decent. Plus, you're pretty close the way that the French Quarter is laid out. You're not that far away from any building, really.
Right. Well, I guess the question is, how's the bus service at Old Key West and Saratoga in comparing it to Port Orleans, French Quarter, or All Star, or Scopa Towers? Rod, I mean, we shared the story on the air before. It was myself, Mr. Scopa, Mr. Newell, Annette. I think you were there as well. We were all at Saratoga Springs, and Len was there as well. And we were going to go to the Magic Kingdom. We were all going to drive our rental cars. So we all decided to go. And at the last minute, Len decides he's going to go take the bus, the Disney bus from Saratoga. Kind of as I guess time it. I'm not sure why. It's Len. He just jumps out of cars. Literally jumped out of the car. And so what happened was we all made it to the Magic Kingdom, parked the car at the thing, took the monorail, took the parking tram to the TTC, took the monorail to the park, got in the park. I think we even got a beverage. And Len came in about 10 or 15 minutes later. That was taking the bus from Saratoga. So the bus over there can be really that's one consistent knock I've heard about it many, many times. So I would take that into consideration because it is unfortunately very slow bus service. Newell, have you ever taken the bus recently at Old Key West?
No, I mean I've taken it internally to go from the front to the room, but I've never actually taken it to a park in quite a number of years.
Yeah. I mean, it's something to consider, certainly. It's a good question for you, Rod. I mean, if you're the kind of person who goes in the early morning, you get up for park opening, you go to the parks, and you don't come back to your resort until after you're done for the day, it's not so much of an issue. I think it's more of an issue if you're going to consider going to, back and forth between your room, perhaps. Perhaps you're the person who wants to take an afternoon break. And in that case, you're going to find the bus service to be much more annoying. Because in the morning and when parks close, I find the bus service to be pretty good. It's always in the middle of the day where you can really run into issues. So it's something to consider, obviously. But I mean, obviously, if you can't get availability at those, if you're stuck with those resorts, I mean, it's better than nothing, right? But I would probably go with Old Key West over Saratoga if bus service is your number one concern, because I think it's slightly better. And also, Old Key West is more centrally located than Saratoga Springs. So that's my thought. Moving on to the next question. It's from Cindy of Burlington, Vermont, who writes, "Hi all. I'm going to the world for my dream vacation for 10 plus days, and I'm wondering what your opinion are of some of the tours like Backstage Magic and the Segway Tour at Epcot. Are they worth the cost? What tours have you all done, and what were your experiences like?" Well, I know, Newell, you've taken the tour at Fort Wilderness, the Segway Tour.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Basically, it's a tour that starts at Fort Wilderness over where, what was that? River Country was. It was over near. Starts where River Country was, and you would go along the banks of Bay Lake, to a point where you would take this trail. This is the off-road one, not the one at Epcot. The Epcot one is a little different. The one at the Fort Wilderness uses the X2 model Segway, which is the off-road one.
Okay.
From there, we would go over to Wilderness Lodge, and you do like a circle around, and you wind up back at Fort Wilderness. It takes about anywhere from 2.5 to 3 hours, with a little, the first hour or so is like training. The rest of it's actually hands-on driving.
Right. And what were your thoughts on it overall? I mean, did you like it? Did you think it was worth the money?
Oh, I loved it. I've done it 3 times since.
Oh, wow. Okay. I think
Wow.
you
It's
like
worth
it.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah, gee, I think you might like it.
I do. I wish it was a little longer. Your feet really hurt after the end of the day on it, but it's a lot of fun.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the Segway Tour runs every day early in the morning. It's $95 a person. Did you think it was worth it?
I got a DVC discount, so it was a little
$85. Sorry,
Yeah.
that's the other one.
Yeah, it was a little.
Yes, there are discounts available for DVC, Annual Pass, AAA, even Disney Visa. So if you bring your library card, you'll probably get a decent.
Mary's giving me the thumbs up, saying it was worth every penny.
Okay, well, if Mary says so, then I believe it.
Don't take my word for it.
Any other tours anyone's taken over here personally? I mean, I've heard great things about all tours. It's just a matter of, I think, what interests you, and B, what you can technically afford. Because some of the tours are kind of pricey, especially those backstage tours.
Like Backstage Magic, it really, for someone that really loves Disney,
Yep.
I've done it. It's a lot of good information, a lot of things that you walk past every time you go, and you have no idea what's behind the the velvet rope there, what's going on behind the scenes. And, I think everybody enjoys going underneath Main Street and seeing the Utilidors. So
Cool.
Another one I did that was really, really reasonable price-wise anyway. It was the Behind the Seeds tour at Epcot.
I want to do that. I still haven't gotten around to doing that.
That is great. If you have a couple of hours to kill, that is a lot of fun. I thought anyway. I thought it was great.
And it's cheap.
Yeah, I forget what it was last time, but it was
$16 for adults, $12 for children.
I was going to say it's under $20. Yeah, you can't beat it.
Yeah, and that's free
perfect
discount.
is that? How perfect is that right now with the Flower and Garden Show and everything going on?
Yep.
Perfect.
That's a great point. Maybe we'll have to do that for the show again. Be a good idea for Star Wars weekends. I like it.
I like it. Write it down.
Right down. All right. Next email is from Marie from Alabama. All right, sent this yesterday, but forgot to include my name and hometown. Well, hi, Marie. Hi, guys and gal. Love the show. Enjoy stopping by TorquePlans.com often and using Colleen at MEI and Mousefan Travel for our trip.
Oh, go Colleen! Woo-hoo.
She'll be there at Star Wars Weekends also. We are frequent Mousesavers and allears.net visitors for all the up-to-date info almost daily. How's that for some shameless plugs? They are all true. Very nice. Also, one story, share, and one question. First, the question. On our trip to the world last year in January, we were told when using the Fast Passes, we could return any time after the earliest time listed in the ticket. In other words, we really didn't have to return during the window they gave on the ticket. We really enjoyed this as it gave us more freedom. We were able to take advantage of it all at the parks, and I was wondering if this is still the case. Absolutely, it's still the case.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Basically, it's kind of the unsaid rule, really, but basically the cast member will make you wait 1 minute if you're there 1 minute early for your Fast Pass window, but as soon as if your thing's for 1:30, you can come back anytime during the rest of the day and use it. But it's got to be that day. It used to be the case where you could use it for months and even years afterwards because they never really checked, but they've cracked down on that. But still, anytime after your Fast Pass return time has occurred is fine with that. So if you get it for 2 o'clock and you're not going to be able to swing by until 6, that's no problem. You can do that. Marie has a story. For Disney and Fast Pass enthusiasts, I'd like to share a story that may save you some legwork and heartache. Last year, we decided to go to the Hoop-de-Doo Review.
Yahoo.
We were at Animal Kingdom in the morning. Yahoo. We were at the Animal Kingdom in the morning and early afternoon and headed over to the Magic Kingdom to take the boat to Fort Wilderness around 4:30. We arrived at the dock a little early, and I had a fabulous idea. I took all of our tickets and ran to Space Mountain to get Fast Passes that we could use later that night. To my chagrin, only my ticket would give a valid Fast Pass. When I asked the attendant what the problem was, she asked if any of the other members of my party were in the park. Oops. They all, of course, were not in the park, although it would have been very easy for all of us to have entered the park, then they could have gotten in line for the boat, and the plan would have worked perfectly. You live and learn. Oh well. Thanks for the show, and Matt Hochberg, don't worry about talking so fast. I'm a fast talker too. I'm sure it's because we got so much more brains than those other folks do. Keep up the good work.
Right.
Tell that to the advertisers.
I think she's got a point. Next email is from Mindy from Plymouth, a.k.a. Ursula Shadow on StudioCentral.com. Oh, yeah. Who writes, hi, Matt, Mike, Len, Fabulous Annette, and whoever else dares venture into your podcast guest chair. Wonderful show you have there and never miss an episode. I do have a question about the picture on your homepage. Why is Matt's Santa hat standing up stiffly whilst Mike, and Len's hats are sadly drooping? Inquiring minds want to know.
Wow, this is what, 5 months old?
Just about from December. During, the logo you usually see on WGWT.com during the Christmas time. I believe, Newell, you added the hats, did you not? Yes. You added little Santa hats to them all?
Yes, I did. That's true.
Yes. So, since you are the artiste here, you are the Heliopolis to us. What was your inspiration there?
You're the only conehead.
Thanks.
It's the only hat of non-Christianity faith that I could find in that color.
Okay, so you found a blue hat.
I just found a blue hat, and it worked. That was it. It has nothing to do with anything. There's no significance. It's not like, you're not wearing your shoes on, on a Beatles album or anything like that. There's no significance.
Very nice.
Although we could start a rumor,
Oh, thanks, Mike. Next email is from Amanda. Writes, Merry Christmas and Happy July 4th, whichever comes first.
Yeah, well, July 4th is coming.
July 4th. There we go. Wait, we're almost at 2009 questions here. We're getting close. Amanda writes, so I think the next time I plan a trip that I need to have you guys do my advanced dining reservations for me. When my husband and I went on our honeymoon a couple of years ago, which, by the way, was the last time I was able to go. Yes, you can shed a tear for me if you'd like. We set up some dining at a couple of places that I'd never been to before. They all sounded interesting, so we figured we'd give it a nice try. Since then, I've been listening to the show and have come to find out that some of the places we ate at are on the, quote, naughty list.
Ooh.
Sorry for the late Christmas reference.
Cousins?
Can't be helped. Not that kind of
Funny.
naughty.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
For example, there was Liberty Tree Tavern, the Sci-Fi Dining Theater, and Tony's Town Square. We didn't have any problems with them, but then again, we weren't able to eat at any of the restaurants on our nice list. So I'm guessing maybe we had a nice time because we just didn't know any better. Maybe we've been eating out of the dumpsters and we didn't realize it. And so that being said, I've got to at least see how the other half lives and maybe try out some of the recommendations given by the fine folks at WDW today. As for the attractions you feel need to be updated, what about this for an idea? Combine an update for the Great Movie Ride with an update for the Sci-Fi. Granted, you'd have to change the name of the Sci-Fi to something else movie-related, but think about it. You could retire some of the old trailers and props of the restaurant to put in a few newer classics in the ride. People would still get it if they do an update. They might as well update the menu as well, and to see all the other favorites from the Great Movie Ride. Then at the same time, you could always have a steady source of material and no one misses out on their favorite memories. What do you think?
No.
It's I'm not. This is something a lot of people bring up about the Great Movie Ride in general. Oh, wouldn't it be great if they updated the Great Movie Ride? In principle, yeah, it'd be a great idea, but I don't think in practice, it would actually be a great idea. And the reason why I don't think so is I don't trust Disney, to be honest with you, to update the attraction. I think that it would become a great tribute to Disney Movie Ride, especially with the, obviously Disney's ended their MGM connection here at the studios, and I kind of like that they have a wide variety of non-Disney movies in the Great Movie Ride currently. And to those who kind of say, it's not as relevant, it needs to be updated, kids don't know it, that's a good fair point. But then I also counter, you go to a museum, they don't get rid of the Egyptian stuff because it's old. You got to learn about things. And I think Mike Newell, I think you would agree that every single person who goes on the Great Movie Ride should be exposed to W.C. Fields.
Yes, indeed, Mike. Tell him yes, indeed.
That's right.
So I'm
Move
not.
away, boy. You bother me.
Perfectly content with them getting rid of the alien section and moving and doing something different there. But hey,
That's awesome.
Well,
I think
would.
the Tarzan thing has to move.
Yeah.
So.
You ever get stuck in there? I was stuck in there one time for like 20 minutes.
Oh,
and
man.
Tarzan didn't stop. He kept going for 20 minutes.
didn't want to see a vegetable for 2 days.
No.
Although I do support the sci-fi update idea. I mean, they really didn't get any worse. So,
And I hate the Wizard of Oz. They can get rid of that whole end too. Ugh.
Mike, that's just clearly the living embodiment of W.C. Fields is with us tonight.
Get rid of that end.
Get rid of it, man, right away. Okay, Matt, move on. Next question.
Let's get going.
Next email is from Marie of Jacksonville, Alabama. Let's hope you're all doing well. Just wondering if you can use your FastPass after the return time. We were able to do it our entire trip, but I'm unsure if this was just for a trial period. Well, as you heard from the last email, Marie, that is absolutely correct.
And
See, we're screening these questions before we start recording. Huh?
Yeah, well, at least we get to them. Next email is from Julia. Writes, if I have a trip planned for May, taking advantage of the 744 deal, can I take my tickets valid at 7 days and upgrade them to an annual pass, paying the difference between a 7-day base and the annual pass? Or will they only credit me for 4 days since I paid for them, essentially? I have one and possibly 2 more trips to take within the year for the annual pass. So now with people that book the buy 4, get 3 free earlier in the year, can they take do you know if they can take their pass and apply it towards an annual pass?
you can, but remember you only paid for 4 days, so that's all you're going to see credited towards your annual pass. Also, do not use that ticket before you do that, because then that's going to knock it down to a 3-day, so the cost is going down a little bit more. Okay. So just keep that in mind that, you're going for 7 days on that ticket, but you really only paid for 4.
Yeah, okay, so that's good. So 4 days, well, it's better than nothing, but yeah, good point.
Right.
Next email is from Michael Ruth of Schenectady, New York, who writes, hello, Matt, Mike, Michael, and Annette. Okay, Matt, read slow. It's hard to keep up unless I've taken my ADD medicine, since you read a paragraph at warp speed. Doing pretty good. Considering the rumored tequila bar that would go inside the Mexico Pavilion and lends affinity for this beverage, I was wondering if the sponsorship was being undertaken by the unofficial guide, perhaps a signature flight of premium tequilas like Testa's Tour of Tequila. I seriously think it would be a great promotional tool. Sell the guide at the stand and challenge guests to follow the Epcot touring plan after drinking the flight, keeping a leaderboard featuring the record top 10 for completing the plan. And the winner each month gets a signed bottle of Cuervo Reserva. That's a great idea. I think Len's money is tied up right now in Van Halen memorabilia.
Maple syrup.
Maple syrup. Michael adds, P.S. I wrote previously in your podcasts, continual refusal to promote Japan's Kaigori at $2.25 as one of Walt Disney World's top treats. The tequila stand could have a Kakigori flavor with actually tequila rather than the fruity syrups in Japan. Great way to keep the young ones more docile. Yeah, that's a great idea, Mike. I'm sure they'll look really good for that. Does anyone like the Kaigori in Japan? You know, to the rest of the world, they're called snow cones.
I guess not.
Swing and a miss. Well, Michael, we'll have to take your word for it. One of these days we'll have to, I guess, Mike, add it to the Star Wars Weekend list of stuff to do.
Research trip.
Put it right.
I remember looking at it during the sip and snack and then went, whoa, way too big. Forget that.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll just add that just above picking up a net from the airport in terms of priority.
Well, and that's kind of in the middle right now. I have other things
Okay.
to worry about.
Root canal,
Yeah.
you know.
I understand.
Wow.
Next email is from Aaron. Writes, I love your show, guys, and love the episode where you ate food all around World Showcase. I have one question for you guys, though. We went on our first trip to Disneyland in 2006 and later returned in 2007. In 2006, we had the ability to fast pass as many rides as we wanted, like fast passing Buzz and then heading over to Fast Pass Space Mountain. In 2007, the 2 years of 2 Million Dreams started. Fast Pass seemed to change because of the Dream Fast Pass. If we wanted to Fast Pass 2 rides, we had to Fast Pass one ride at a time, and then wait till the Fast Pass return time to check out another Fast Pass. We were planning to hit Walt Disney World for our first time, and I was wondering if Fast Passes at Walt Disney World would be unlimited like it was in 2006 or unlimited like in 07. Thanks for your ideas. Scopa, you want to tackle this one?
Is this the Fast Pass show?
Very well could be.
When she says unlimited, what does she mean? Does
I
she
think
mean
basically you could get a Fast Pass now, walk over to Space Mountain in 10 minutes and get a Fast Pass again, which is not the case.
Not the case. We do know that when you're getting Lights Motor Action Fast Pass, that you can get another Fast Pass in the studios. We know that. For the most part, you're limited to, I believe you can get a Fast Pass during the window that your primary Fast Pass is activated. That is, if you're getting a Fast Pass for Soarin', and let's say it's active for, I don't know, in an hour. When that hour begins, you can get another Fast Pass. I think that's how it works now.
Yeah, they have the when you get your first Fast Pass, you'll have on the bottom of the ticket, it'll say you can get your next Fast Pass at whatever time. Generally, it's at least 45 minutes, but I think they hard coded at 2 hours at the worst. So you'll never have to wait more than 2 hours for your next Fast Pass. So you look in the bottom of your Fast Pass and it'll tell you exactly when you can get your next one.
Welcome to the Fast Pass show.
Yep.
Very nice. Next email is from Ed and Katie, who say, we are driving from Winston-Salem, North Carolina for our next trip to Walt Disney World. We plan on listening to some old shows to pass the time. We did this when we drove from Winston-Salem to Detroit earlier this year, 10 hours each way. I saw the November live show isn't on the site yet. Is it going to be up there soon?
What?
November live show. Did we ever get that online?
Yes.
Good. Well, that answered that one. Thank you, Ed and
There's
Katie.
only one show that's missing, and that's the January live show, and that's because I'm having technical trouble with it. That's why it's not up there. But November is up there.
Good. Very timely of you, Newell.
Sorry.
Hey, as long as you get the well, someone probably emails about the January one, and we'll answer it in January, and it'll be up by then, hopefully.
Okay, boss.
Next email is from Mark of Hoffman Estates, Illinois. Writes, hello, Matt, Mike Square, to Len, and the most fabulous Annette, if present. We recently enjoyed the deluxe dining plan in November, but realized with the young ones it's just too much food and too much rushing around to get to the next meal for us to do again in our trip in 2009. We are annual pass holders, so I purchased the Tables of Wonderland card. My question is this. Is it better to just use the card for all, if accepted, of our meals, or combine it with the regular dining plan and use it for appetizers, drinks, additional table service meals, lunch or breakfast, not included in the plan? We'll be at table service every dinner, every day, throw in Chef Mickey's for breakfast, and perhaps a table service lunch or two. Just wondering which would be the best option for us money-wise, and I hate doing math. Good question. So, is it better to just use the card for all the meals accepted, or combine it with the dining plan? Well, obviously, if you're getting the dining, I assume that they're getting the dining plan. Is that a fair? Does that sound like they're getting it? Or are they?
Sounds like
It sounds like he already has the card, but he's not sure if he should get the dining plan. If it would, the discount. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not.
It's kind
sure.
of well. Let's
This is a Lynn question.
well. Let's go with the Annette theory here that he has the Tables of Wonderland card, which he mentioned, and he's contemplating is it better to just stick with the Tables of Wonderland card or go with the dining plan.
Okay, here's the thing though. Before he decides to go with the dining plan, he has to make sure that he's gotten all the ADRs he would want for those restaurants for which he would use the dining plan. Why purchase the dining plan if you're not going to be able to make good use of that by not being able to get ADRs at those restaurants where you'd want to use it? Absolutely.
I think it's important to not only sit down and make reservations, Mike, but also kind of plan out what you're all going to be eating there and how much what restaurants you're going to be eating at, because then you can kind of figure out if it's going to be worth it for you or not. And Annette, I know you mentioned on previous shows that you can add the dining plan after you make a reservation, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. So you can do that up to about 2 weeks before you go. So you've got plenty of time to sit there and play with the numbers, figure out what you're going to order.
What about the free dining plan, Annette? When is the last date to book that?
Well, if they're looking at free dining, they'd want to be able to book that free dining by June 21st.
Okay. So I got
that may
a little bit of time left.
Yeah, a little bit of time to play with it.
Luckily, we got to the letter.
Next email is Mike Newell. What will we do without you? Next email is from Betsy Brannon, who's from the George Washington University class of 2002. My husband and I are avid, longtime listeners to your show and look forward to your MouseFest podcast whenever they come out. Okay, here's my question. Matt, are you a graduate of the George Washington University here in Washington, D.C.? While I was a student there, I had many classes with Matt Hochberg, although I don't think we ever formally met. When tuned into our live show, I only caught a profile, but you seem to actually resemble him. Just wondering, I've got to prepare my Christmas wish list and send it to Len. Have a great day. Betsy, I did not go to the George Washington University, but my sister did. But if you knew a Matt Hochberg there, that's really creepy because that wasn't me. I think I visited her once over there, but I never went over there to the George Washington University. So sorry, wasn't me. Next email is from Michelle in North Carolina, who writes, you mentioned putting doors on the trams as one of your wishes. Well, last month my family took the Backstage Magic Tour, and they took us to the Imagineering Workshop where we saw a prototype for a parking lot tram that had doors on it. Not sure we'll ever see this in the parks, but looks like your wish will come true. Cool. I think it's a great idea. What do you think, Scopa, of the doors on the parking trams?
Great idea, Matt. Great, because I think it would, reduce their insurance premiums, and it would be helpful for everybody.
Oh yeah,
yeah. There's never a trip where somebody's jumping on the tram as we're pulling away. There's never once has there not been someone doing that.
And how many times do you see little kids on the outside?
Yeah, no, it just makes it so much easier. So they don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. They just have it. I think it just makes things a lot.
Right.
Next email, another Mike Newell question here is from Alex in Miami. Who writes, hello, Matt, Mike, Len, and if present, the fabulous Miss Owens. On the homepage, there are cartoon versions of the four of you guys. I think we all know who the gray-haired one is, but how about the rest of them? Thanks and congrats on what is probably episode 637 by now.
I'm close.
Close. We're up to
563.
563. We're not that bad. All right, Newell, do you want to go through left to right?
From left to right, we have the Len Testa, the unofficial guide. Then the gray-haired one. Oh, God, with that bell. Then the gray-haired one, Mr. Scopa. Then the lovable Matt Hochberg, and yours truly.
Very nice. Thank you, Mike. Next email is from Tom in Omaha, Nebraska, who writes, since you all know everything there is to know about the world, or at least are willing to spin an interesting yarn, I know you'll be able to answer my question. When taking the resort monorail to Grand Floridian, I noticed something that looks like a beach to the right of the monorail line. This is directly after crossing the Water Pageant Canal and just before entering Magic Kingdom Monorail Station. It looks like this area is accessible by a walking path from the monorail boat walkways. I don't think this is actively used these days, but I'm wondering what was the original purpose of this bit of land. You guys know what he's talking about? I can picture it in my head.
Yep.
It's if you're taking that monorail from the resorts, and just before you pull into the Magic Kingdom, you pass over the canal on your left, but on the right hand side, there's looks like a decent beach to the right hand side, but obviously it's so far away from the Grand Floridian Resort. In fact, you'd have to probably swim across to get there. It's just obviously not practical. So Tom's wondering if that had any use at any time before. I certainly do not know of any particular use. Does anyone recall anything?
I don't think so. I think it was just there for aesthetics. It makes it look really nice. Okay. Obviously, they didn't want people walking from the Grand Floridian to the Magic Kingdom. They might have thought about that at one point, and if so, someone may have changed their mind and they may have separated that piece of land from the other part that's close to the Grand Floridian. That's the only thing I can think of. Yeah. But then again, I think one of the reasons why they wouldn't want to do that is they wouldn't want people to think they could use that as a beach.
Yeah, well, that could be. I probably agree with you, Mike. I have no idea. And certainly, if you know the answer to this question, feel free to just post it at wdwtoday.com. I mean, they may have just been, building beaches and said, "Hey, build it there," and they just never got around to using it. But we don't know the answer to that one. Perhaps one of our listeners does. So let us know here. It's time for our last question of the day, and that means that Mike Newell gets to pick the last question of the day. So, Mike, I'm going to give you 3 questions, and you pick one for us to answer today, and the other 2 we'll go back into the question queue. Are you ready? Take that as a yes. All right. Let's see here. I asked you if are you ready. Here, the first option for you is Yeehaw Bob. Question 2 is Comfy Feet. And question 3 is the Great Space and Coaster Race.
All winners.
Wow. You know what? I'm really interested in Yeehaw Bob because I've never seen him, but I've heard really good things about his show, and I think I'd like to go see him at some point, so I want to hear more about that.
All right.
Let's hear more about Mr. Bob.
Our last question of the day comes from Jimmy, a.k.a. Cajun King. Hoorah. Hoorah. All right, so I've sent questions to the show a few times, but this is more of a topic. I've heard a couple of comments about Yeehaw Bob. Me and my family have stayed at the Port Orleans Resort Riverside last year for the first time and have mostly stayed at Values. Last year when we stayed at Port Orleans Riverside, and we got to sit and enjoy Yeehaw Bob, and it was a great moment in our moderate hotel adventure. I think now I'm moderately spoiled, maybe not just because of Bob, but because he made me love Port Orleans Riverside that much more. Yeah, no, I've seen Yeehaw Bob. I've only seen him once so far. And I was turned on to him by some of the fellow podcasting community over here, and it's wonderful. He puts on a great show. The man has an insane amount of energy. I've never seen someone he plays a piano, and he's got a shtick that he does. It's over the top piano playing, just singing, bar songs basically that you've all probably heard 1,000 times, and you just sing there. And he's got this whole shtick with interacting with the audience and everything. It's a phenomenal show, and it's worth really going to. What's great about it is he has like 3 sets a night, and they're usually late at night. Like his first set's like you have to check the website or Google around for it. It's like 7 o'clock and like 9 o'clock and like 11 o'clock or something like that. And so it's great because you can go to the parks during the daytime, and then take the bus from the park, wherever park you're at, go to Port Orleans Riverside even if you're not staying there, and go check it out. It's really a lot of fun. He does a great job. And that might be, I've said it before, Mike, but I think this might make it to the Star Wars weekend list.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about him. I know he's a part of the Disney Podcast Network community, so they always rave about him. So I've heard a lot about him. And he's even, I think, a member on Facebook, and I think he's friends with us on Facebook. But I've never seen the show, and I'm always want to go, and obviously always something comes up or I forget. But I think if we went as a group, it would be a real hoot.
Yeah, it's really a lot of fun to see it as a group. You've got a good group there. We talk about like Hoop-De-Doo would be good as a group.
Right.
Yeehaw Bob is even better. It's because it's free.
Right. I was just going to say that it's free.
Nice.
Exactly.
And he also does play at Gaylord Palm some nights. So he's got a distinct schedule. He's not there every night. So he's got like 3 nights at Port Orleans Riverside and like 2 or 3 nights at Gaylord Palms. Have any of you others, Annette or Scope, have you seen Yeehaw Bob?
Yeah, I've been by Riverside and stopped by, seen part of the show. Didn't stay for all of it because with the kids, it could get a little late.
Yeah.
But I know that I have many, many clients that it wins them over to hear that they've got that kind of entertainment there at a moderate resort right there.
Yeah, it's great. And it's great for kids, adults. It's not adult humor by any means. I mean, it's good family fun. And So I think it might be a good idea. I think we should bring Janine over there. She'd love that kind of stuff.
I think we should-
volunteering and it's so shtick.
And in fact,
We'll
Bob,
volunteer her.
if Bob actually listens to the show, Bob, if we bring Janine, you have to bring her up on stage because she loves to be
Yeah.
involved in all these sorts of things.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's it for us today. Don't forget that this episode of WDW Today has been sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. And if you're like Janine and you want to have a trip to Walt Disney World where you want to volunteer for all these wonderful shows, the travel agents at MEI and Mouse Fan Travel can help you plan that out. They can give you tips, let you know what attractions you can volunteer for, and give you some feedback on that. That's just one of the many services they offer you. They can also make your reservations for you, so you're not stuck at eating at Tony's Town Square in the Sci-Fi like one of our listeners
Hey.
was earlier in the show. They can help you just get into those great places and let you know which places you should be eating at. So why not give them a try? Visit them online at www.mousefantravel.com. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the WDW Today website at wdwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Skopek, and Mike Newell, and the fabulous Annette Owens, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.
I like turtles.
Stupid Judy, stupid energy.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.